You finally decided to start investing, and now you're completely paralyzed by choice. Your friend who works in tech won't shut up about how much money he's made in crypto. Your parents keep telling you that real estate is the only real investment. Your colleague swears by the stock market and keeps showing you charts on her phone. Meanwhile, you're stuck in the middle with money, sitting in your savings account, earning basically nothing. It's watching everyone else seemingly get rich, while you can't figure out which path to take. Here's what nobody tells you. You're asking the wrong question. The battle between stocks versus real estate versus crypto isn't actually about picking one winner. It's about understanding what each one really is, how they work, and which one matches your situation, goals, and honestly, your personality. Today, I'm going to break down all three in a way that actually makes sense, show you the real advantages and real drawbacks of each, and help you figure out what might work best for you. Let's start with stocks because they're probably the most straightforward and accessible option for most people. When you invest in stocks, you're buying tiny pieces of ownership in companies. If you buy shares of Microsoft, you literally own a microscopic fraction of that entire business. The way you make money from stocks happens in two ways. First, the stock price can go up. If you buy a share for $100 and later it's worth $150, you can sell it and pocket that $50 profit. That's called a capital gain. Second, many companies pay dividends, which are basically portions of the company's profits that get distributed to shareholders. Some companies pay quarterly dividends, so you might get a few dollars per share several times a year just for holding the stock. Now, the beauty of stocks is that they're incredibly liquid, which just means you can buy or sell them almost instantly during market hours. If you need your money tomorrow, you can sell your stocks and have cash in your account within a couple of days. Stocks are also easy to diversify, which means spreading your money across many different companies. You can buy index funds that hold hundreds or thousands of stocks all at once, so you're not betting everything on one company succeeding. But stocks come with their own challenges. They're volatile, which means their prices jump around a lot. You might see your account value drop 10 or 20% in a bad month, and that can be terrifying if you're not prepared for it. The stock market is also influenced by emotions and news cycles. Sometimes stock prices don't really reflect the actual value of the company, but rather how people feel about it in that moment. And here's something most beginners don't realize. Picking individual stocks is really hard. Sure, you hear about people who bought Amazon early or got into Tesla at the right time, but for every success story, there are dozens of people who picked companies that went nowhere or even went bankrupt. This is why most experts recommend index funds rather than trying to pick winners yourself. The other thing about stocks is that they require basically no work from you once you invest. You don't need to manage anything or fix anything. You just buy and hold, which can be great for passive investors, but also means you have zero control over the companies you own. Now let's talk about real estate, which has this reputation as the ultimate wealth builder. When people think about getting rich, they often picture owning properties. Real estate works differently than stocks because you're buying physical property. Whether that's a house you live in, a rental property, or even commercial buildings if you get really serious about it. The main ways you make money in real estate are through appreciation and rental income. Appreciation means the property becomes more valuable over time. A house you buy for $300,000 today might be worth $400,000 in 10 years. Rental income is when you buy a property and rent it out to tenants. They pay you monthly rent, and ideally, that rent covers your mortgage payment plus maintenance costs, with some profit left over. Over time, your tenants are essentially paying off your mortgage for you while you build equity in the property. Real estate has some real advantages that make it appealing. It's tangible. You can drive by it, walk through it, and touch it. There's something psychologically comforting about owning something physical rather than just numbers on a screen. Real estate also tends to be less volatile than stocks. Your property's value doesn't change every single day like stock prices do. You might check what your home is worth once a year, not every morning. There are also significant tax advantages with real estate. You can deduct mortgage interest, property taxes, and if it's a rental property, you can deduct maintenance costs, depreciation, and other expenses. Plus, real estate gives you leverage, which means you can control a large asset with a relatively small amount of money down. You might put $60,000 down on a $300,000 house, so you're controlling 5 times more value than cash you actually have. When that property appreciates, you're gaining on the full value, not just your down payment. But real estate has some serious drawbacks that people often gloss over when they're hyping it up. First, the barrier to entry is enormous compared to stocks. You need thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for a down payment, plus closing costs, inspection fees, and more. Then there are ongoing costs that eat into your profits. Property taxes, insurance, maintenance, repairs, and if it's a rental, potential vacancy periods where you're paying the mortgage with no rent coming in. I've heard so many stories of people who bought rental properties thinking they'd have passive income, it's only to realize they're constantly dealing with broken water heaters, problem tenants, and middle-of-the-night maintenance calls. Real estate is also illiquid. If you need money quickly, you can't just sell half your house. Selling property takes months and involves realtors, inspections, negotiations, and significant transaction costs. You'll typically pay around 6% in realtor fees, plus other closing costs just to sell. And unlike stocks where you can start with $100, real estate demands serious capital and serious commitment. Then there's location risk that's unique to real estate. If you buy property in a city, and that city's economy tanks, or crime goes up, or a major employer leaves, your property value could drop significantly and stay down for years. You're essentially making a big bet on one specific location. And let's talk about the time and knowledge required. Being a landlord is a job, not truly passive income. You need to understand tenant laws, handle maintenance, screen renters, deal with evictions if necessary, and manage all the financial aspects. You can hire a property management company to handle this stuff, but that eats into your profits significantly. For most people starting out in investing, real estate is honestly not the best first move unless you're buying a home to live in, which has its own financial logic separate from pure investing. Now we get to crypto, the wild card that's probably the most controversial of the three. Cryptocurrency is digital money that exists on blockchain technology, which is essentially a decentralized digital ledger. Bitcoin was the first and is still the most well-known, but there are thousands of different cryptocurrencies now. The appeal of crypto is pretty obvious. Some people have made absolutely life-changing returns. Bitcoin went from being worth basically nothing to reaching over $60,000 at its peak.
Ow.
People who bought in early and held on made fortunes. Crypto is also available 24/7. So unlike the stock market that closes at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, you can trade crypto any hour of any day. It's also genuinely innovative technology that could revolutionize how we think about money, contracts, and digital ownership. But here's where I need to be really honest with you. Crypto is extremely speculative and risky. The volatility in crypto makes stock market volatility look tame. Bitcoin has dropped 50% or more multiple times. It's not uncommon for a cryptocurrency to swing 10 or 20% in a single day. Lesser-known cryptocurrencies can lose 90% of their value in weeks or even disappear entirely. There are thousands of cryptocurrencies out there, and most of them will probably be worth zero eventually. The crypto space is also still largely unregulated, which means there's less protection for investors. Exchanges have been hacked, companies have collapsed, and people have lost their entire investments with no recourse. Remember when FTX, one of the biggest crypto exchanges, completely imploded in 2022? People had millions of dollars on that platform and lost everything overnight. The other problem with crypto is that it doesn't produce anything. When you own a stock, you own part of a company that makes products, earns revenue, and hopefully grows over time. When you own rental real estate, it produces rental income. But when you own Bitcoin, it doesn't produce anything, just sits there, and its value is based entirely on what someone else is willing to pay for it tomorrow. That's not necessarily bad, but it makes it really hard to determine what it should actually be worth. Is Bitcoin worth $10,000? $60,000? $100,000? Nobody really knows because there's no underlying business generating cash flow to analyze. For these reasons, if you're going to invest in crypto at all, it should be a small portion of your overall portfolio. Think of it as money you can afford to lose entirely. Most financial advisors who are open to crypto at all suggest keeping it to 5 or 10% of your investment's maximum. So which one is actually best? Here's the truth. It depends entirely on your situation. If you're just starting out investing, Have limited capital and want something simple and accessible? Stocks are almost certainly your best bet. You can start with small amounts, invest in diversified index funds, and benefit from long-term market growth without needing to be an expert or dedicate tons of time. The stock market has a long track record of creating wealth for patient investors who buy and hold through the ups and downs. It's the most beginner-friendly option by far. Real estate makes more sense once you have more capital saved up, understand the commitment involved, and either want to be an active investor or can afford property management. It can be a powerful wealth-building tool, especially because of the leverage factor and tax advantages. But it's not something you can just dabble in with a couple $100s. If you're in a position to buy property in a growing area and you're prepared for the responsibilities of ownership, real estate can absolutely be part of a solid investment strategy. But calling it better than stocks is misleading because it's really a different asset class that serves different purposes. Crypto is the highest risk and highest potential reward option, but it should be approached with extreme caution. If you want to invest a small amount that you're comfortable losing completely, and you believe in the long-term potential of blockchain technology, you could allocate a tiny portion of your portfolio to Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum. But treating crypto like a lottery ticket or your primary investment strategy is a recipe for disaster. The people who got wealthy from crypto either got in extremely early or got very lucky. And those success stories make it easy to overlook the thousands of people who lost significant amounts of money. Here's what I actually think makes the most sense for most people. Build your core investment strategy around stocks through low-cost index funds. This gives you diversification, accessibility, and the benefit of long-term market growth. Once you've built up a solid base there and have more capital available, you could consider adding real estate if it fits your goals and you're ready for the commitment. Maybe that's buying a home to live in, which builds equity while you're paying for housing anyway. Or maybe it's eventually buying a rental property once you've learned more and are prepared for what that involves. And if you want to experiment with crypto, keep it to a small percentage that you're truly comfortable losing, and don't check the price every hour because that'll drive you insane. The biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to pick just one and put all their eggs in that basket. Diversification isn't just about owning different stocks. It's about spreading your investments across different asset classes. Stocks, real estate, and yes, even a little crypto if you want, can all coexist in a well-balanced portfolio. Each has different risk and return profiles, and they often don't move in sync with each other, which can smooth out your overall returns. Another thing to consider is your timeline and goals. If you're 25 and investing for retirement that's 40 years away, you can afford to take more risk with stocks and crypto because you have time to recover from downturns. If you're 50 and planning to retire in 10 years, you might want more stability and less volatility, which might mean more real estate and bonds and less aggressive stock or crypto exposure. If you're saving for a house down payment you want to buy in 3 years, you shouldn't be heavily invested in any of these. You should keep that money somewhere safe and accessible like a high-yield savings account because you can't risk a market crash right when you need the funds. Your personality matters too. Some people genuinely enjoy being landlords and managing properties. They like the tangible nature of real estate and don't mind the work involved. Others would hate that and prefer the hands-off nature of index fund investing. Some people can watch their crypto portfolio drop 40% and shrug it off, while others would lose sleep for weeks. There's no point forcing yourself into an investment strategy that doesn't match your own temperament, because you'll either make emotional decisions at the wrong time or be miserable the whole time. One more perspective I'll offer is that you don't need to decide everything today. You can start with stocks because they're accessible. Learn as you go. Gradually explore other options as you build more wealth and knowledge. Investing is a lifelong journey, not a single decision you make once and never revisit. Your strategy will evolve as your life changes, and that's completely normal. Just remember that everything I've shared here is for educational purposes and shouldn't be taken as financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and your personal situation is unique. Do your own research, consider talking to professionals, and make decisions based on your own goals and risk tolerance. If this comparison helped you think more clearly about your investing options, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button. And if you want to keep learning about investing money and building wealth in a way that's actually useful and not full of hype, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. In the next video, we're going to dive into exactly how to build a diversified investment portfolio from scratch, step by step. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.